Welcome to the Sellernomics Podcast. In today's special episode, we are going to share some great tools and software available to Amazon sellers. Special thanks to our sponsor, GETIDA. Did you know you can get $400 in free FBA reimbursements at getida.com/sellernomics? Now it is time to show us what you got with your host, Rob Stanley.
Hey everyone, Rob Stanley here, and got another episode of Show Us What You Got. Today I got a good one. I got Matt Kostan. He's a CEO and co-founder of ProductPinion. And Matt, how you doing? Good to have you.
Very good. Thank you for having me. Pumped and excited to be here.
Yeah, it should be a really good one. And of course, as we go with this demo, we're going to jump right into it in just a second. If you have any questions, please be sure to post those in the comment section. Hit that like and thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We do appreciate that. Matt, it's time for you to show us what you got.
All right, let's do it. So for starters, I just wanted to give some context around what we're going to be talking about, and then we'll dive right into the software afterwards so you can see it firsthand of the things that you can be doing. And this stuff, I'm hoping I'll be able to blow your mind with the stuff that you can do and just how you'll be able to increase your sales by testing with Amazon. So one thing that I've come to learn, being an Amazon seller myself, there's actually two types of tests that you want to be doing. One is called Amazon UX testing. The other is split testing, which is fairly common. UX testing is really important because you're basically trying to figure out, the context of why people are thinking and saying the things that they say. So it's very common in software. I've been working in software for over 10 years, where basically you ask people to look at your software, click things, and explain out loud why they're clicking, what did they expect to happen, that sort of thing. I've been doing this for my Amazon listings for years, and it kind of blew my mind that there wasn't an actual solution to do this, because the value you get from doing these kind of tests can be insane. And we'll go through some case studies and examples as well. So essentially, UX testing is seeing how people actually interact with your listing. You can get videos of people looking at your listing as they speak out loud, answering whatever questions you might have. So in essence, it's almost like being able to read customers' minds, which is pretty cool. And not only that you read their minds, you uncover their objections and how to make your listing better, but it also gives you ideas for stuff to actually do the quantitative testing aspect. So this is more qualitative. It's almost like a focus group on steroids. It gives you ideas for how to do the split test, how to change and optimize your listing for improvements. Now, the second type of test is split testing. So very common practice in all of, if you've ever done any kind of marketing, basically it's giving different options, showing it to a group of people and seeing which will perform best. And why is that important? You already know, building your brand based on data instead of luck is the way to go. That's how you actually can build your brand, and build it fast too, when you're using data to back up, your decisions. You're not just using your gut, right? You're not just asking friends and family who obviously love you too much to give you so many kind of real feedback, right? They're not going to give you the constructive criticism that you need. Obviously, a bunch of things you can test, everything from your images to the wording to the guarantees that you're offering on Amazon, and even your inserts you can test as well. And of course, packaging, headlines, everything about your listing is basically testable. So that begs the question, and that's why we're here today. How do we actually double our sales when we're doing testing with Amazon? So there's a playbook that we've implemented, and obviously there's tons of different products, tons of different categories, tons of different variables involved. So your results may vary, but we've come up with certain types of tests and certain things to test that actually move the needle when you implement. And I'm going to share with you today all of those. So hopefully, whether you're using our solution or whatever solution to do your testing, you'll be able to actually increase your sales on Amazon. So this is a big slide, lots of numbers on there, but basically we're going to quickly go through 10 different tests that we'll do that can give you an idea of how much you'll be able to increase your sales when you're selling. So don't worry about this. We'll circle back to it right afterwards, but let's get started with the tests. So First test I always recommend for anyone getting started is the competitor research test. You want to understand the lay of the land. And the way this happens is you actually ask shoppers to look at an Amazon search result page. And you can provide that URL to them, right? You basically tell them, hey, look at the search result page. Which one of the products do you see that you like? Click into one. Tell me why you like it. Why did you click it? What do you like about the listing? What do you not like about the listing? If you do this for 10 people, like just 10 people, you talk to 10 people, you get an understanding of that competitive landscape better than probably 95% of people who are selling in it. It is unreal, the stuff that you get from that. And again, this is very qualitative, but still very important to kind of give you that baseline, that foundation of knowledge to know what's important to test later on quantitatively. Once you do this, you have that information, you make notes of it, obviously, and then you can decide on the other aspects of what you want to test. So for example, everyone knows your hero image is like the main thing to be focused on because you don't get the clicks. It's like a subject line in an email. It doesn't matter the content of your email so much as it does your subject line. It's the 80-20 rule. So the other type of test we always recommend, if you can put some sort of human element into your hero image, it converts significantly better and it gets that many more clicks. This one's kind of an obvious example, right? So one of our customers, and by the way, anything we share here, we've had permission to do so. One of our customers had, they have a shower cap. They switched it off to, to include the face to see how it fits. No brainer, people pick this one significantly more than the other one. And then obviously you get an explanation of why that they picked the one that they did. Now this one's a little bit more interesting. So this is one of our brands. It's done over 7 figures on Amazon. I was gung-ho and dead set on picking the middle hero image. It was Xing out the mosquito. It's Xing out the thing that you're trying to prevent. It's a mosquito repellent bracelet. And sure enough, that's not the one that did the best. The one that did the best was the thumbs up. And, again, turned out to be one of the bigger selling products. Another type of test, if you have packaging, and you should show it off in your listing if you can. Some categories allow for it. It's definitely something to work on if you can. But it's not just showing off your packaging. It's how to make your packaging the most attractive. So I actually used to work in pharmaceuticals where we tried to get on shelves of pharmacies around Canada and the US. And something that you've experienced this, when you walk into a store, it's like you're blasted by all the colors and designs of all sorts of packaging, right? It's kind of like you're looking into the sun. You're like, holy geez. And one thing that's always performed really well is actually making your packaging kind of a solid color as much as possible, especially in the pharmaceutical space where most stuff has like a white predominantly background. So we call this the Sunspot packaging technique, where if you're looking to the sun, you want to be the little spot, you want to be that dark little whatever to get the attention. Because in the search results on Amazon, it's the same thing when you walk into the store. You're blown away by all the different colors, you're blown away by all the different products. And the ones that stand out are the ones that are more solid. Now, this is an insanely competitive category of product, apple cider vinegar minis. And you actually notice all the sponsored ones are kind of on the white label. So kind of like, they're okay. But the ones that are actually selling top, organic, the ranking, they have the solid color bottles. And even the one, I would argue the one that has the red cap as well, probably stands out the most. It catches your eye. So when you're in a generic niche like this, whatever you can do to stand out is definitely worthwhile to do it. And testing, making sure that you're actually getting the results that you want with it. So I think this is super cool. And anytime I'll recommend doing the packaging test for this to get the results. The other side of testing, which is really important, is doing contextual polls. So it's not enough necessarily to just do tests in a vacuum where you're comparing one image to another image. How cool would it be is if you could actually show people your product and your competitors on a page that looks like Amazon and then see which one they click. Because keep in mind, on Amazon, it's not just about the image, it's also about the number of reviews, the star rating, and the pricing. So something interesting that we do is actually let you create these contextual polls where you control for the star ratings, the reviews, the price. You can change them whatever you want. And it'll let you actually know that your hero image is the best amongst competitors, no matter the number of reviews, star ratings, or whatever it might be. So just for example, this is actually a screenshot from our software. That's not an Amazon page. That's an emulated page where we give you the input, you put in the inputs, and it's created based on what you want. So, and we'll demo that in the software in a bit as well, which is it's mind blowing what you can get with that. So, and this is just for example, we shared about packaging tests. This is an example where you change the package from a white label to a darker, actually makes it better. More people click it. So, another test that's worthwhile in trying is the speed bump title test. So I get it, you know, the first few words of your headline are super important for SEO, but if you put something interesting in the title, anything you can do to get people to stop scrolling. When someone's browsing on Amazon, they're just skimming, right? They're not looking in detail and reading everything. If they do see your image, the next part is they go over to their title and they want to kind of get a feel for, you know, what this is. And you'd be shocked at how many of our testers will say, like, I don't buy anything if the title is super long. And, you know, back in the day, we would make our titles like as long as possible. It almost looks like they're written for, you know, SEO, not written for people. Lots of customers will not buy a product just based on that, just as an FYI. I hope to quantify that soon, like how many are turned off by that. But something to test is putting in a unique word that you don't typically see all the time, right? So in this example, with luggage tags, you put in indestructible. Nobody uses indestructible that often, right? It gets them to pause and take notice. So that's another tip that you can do in testing that can get more eyeballs into your listing. I absolutely love the objection handling test. This is also great. So in this test, this is a Pinion video test where, again, you're getting screencast recordings of people looking at your listing. And in this instance, you're basically asking people like, why wouldn't you buy this? Or why wouldn't you recommend this to a friend? And the craziest part is one opinion, one idea that comes from this test can lead to like crazy good revenue. So for example, doing one of these tests, I actually had a customer give me an idea of why, well, they told me why they wouldn't buy my product. And I was able to solve that idea by modifying the design of the product, which actually led me to get patent pending status, right? So crazy, the amount of insights that you get, just one particular insight can lead to some product development. It can also lead to variations. The problem is when we, brand owners like us, we get lost in the curse of knowledge, right? We've seen our listings, we've seen our products so often that we stop seeing like the other things you can do. So that's why talking to customers and getting insights from customers on a regular basis can really help grow the business and give you even ideas for product variations and even complementary products that you might not have even thought of before. So I absolutely love this stuff. Another one that really moves the needle, I highly recommend even without testing, like do this on your listings today. The sequence benefit test. So a lot of people include infographics on the listing, right? Pretty common practice. However, one thing that you can do and you should do is actually number your benefits in the infographic. What ends up happening is people will start reading or they'll see the number 1. And because they're numbered, they'll be more compelled to read them all. I see a ton of infographics where it has like, a thing here, a thing there. It's all kind of over the place. Doesn't get people to read them all necessarily because they have to, you're making them do too much work. They have to look all around the page to find the info. Make it easy. Do a list. So something like this where it's literally 1 through 5, the 5 reasons why you'll love our product. And this, you get a noticeable uptick in sales when you implement this. And obviously you can test which one's better. This pretty easy one, the original one, not as good. I mean, it's actually better than most. So it's in a list. At least it's easy to read. It's not just, text all over the place. However, numbering it gets people to read them all. A listing optimization test. This basically asks people straight up, how would you improve this particular listing? Again, like I mentioned with the curse of knowledge, this removes the blinders and you actually get those opinions of people saying like, I mean, sometimes you even uncover mistakes that you don't even see. I had like spelling errors in my listing, which was interesting. But more importantly, you hear what, I like asking people in this test as well, like, what would you do to recommend this? What needs to be done? Or why would you recommend this to a friend? Or why wouldn't you recommend this to a friend? and you get insights based on that, and you're able to actually, fix your listing and improve it based on what real people are saying. The other thing that's very important is because you're getting a screencast recording and you actually hear what people are saying, you get the context of how important something is to them. If you're just reading words off a screen, you don't know if they're saying like, oh, that thing's not great, or if they're really passionate about something and they're happy to tell you when they're passionate about something, and they're saying like, this is a deal breaker. You can get that context of what they're saying and how they're saying it, which then leads to you making the decision based on context versus just, hey, what they've written on a page. One great example of this is this one again with the shower cap. So this shower cap's been selling for years and years, but one thing that came out of just one video is that it doesn't mention that it fits all hair types. Actually, it was actually a common thread throughout the videos that people were like, I don't know if it'll fit my hair. I have really long hair. I want to know that. So for example, using that information, updated the listing with an image that said, long hair don't care, fits all hair lengths, that sort of thing. And the sales had an uptick because we were able to change that based on the feedback from actual people saying it. And that was a big deal breaker for most. If I don't know if it fits my hair, not buying it. There were other subtle things that weren't as important, but still important to change. Like, is it machine washable? They had features that were confusing. So another part, as the owner, she perfectly understood why her shower cap was reversible. Apparently you do, you can do leave-in treatments or something. I had no idea why it would be reversible either, but customers were confused too. And if customers are confused, they just bounce. It's almost better not to have that feature in there if it's going to confuse them. They'd rather just not buy it, move to the next, versus actually, taking the time to use those brain cycles to figure out what you're trying to sell. So another thing that they changed was making it super simple and super clear, with the leave-in treatments of why it's a better feature. So other thing you can test, Pinion poll, you can test your A+ content. For example, one thing that came out of a test that I was doing, people were saying, I don't understand why your products are worth the price. So the A+ content, I put straight up, why are these worth it? And, made a big difference in sales as well. And then obviously you can test price. Something else that I've been able to do after optimizing your listing, you should increase your price. In my case, I was able to increase the price of an ASIN by 41% without affecting the rankings and still actually selling out of the product, even with the price increase. Now, the cool thing is by doing this, even just, this is trying to get up to doubling your sales. Even just one Pinion poll test that increases your sales by 5% can mean extra dollars in the bank for you. Other point that I want to bring across is that the small wins compound. So a 1.4% improvement every week means you're doubling that metric in a year. So more often you test, the better. And what I want to do is dive right into the software now to show you how it's actually done. Okay.
Yeah, Matt. So that was good. And I'm going to give you a quick second to go ahead and get that pulled up and ready so we can do the actual live demo. So I do have a quick question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you explain to people? I've had other companies on the podcast that are a little bit similar to what you guys do. So why don't you kind of just tell us what makes ProductPinion different than some of these other services I've had on that are kind of similar to what you just showed?
Absolutely. So ProductPinion is like the complete testing solution. So you get actually both the qualitative aspect of being able to talk to people, like hear what people are saying about the particular product, and then test those ideas from what you're learning from the qualitative side, learning what you should be testing quantitatively, and then being able to implement the quantitative side, the split testing as well. So you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting UX testing plus the quantitative split testing, which makes it that much better. There's also, for example, so we're Amazon sellers ourselves. So ProductPinion is actually specifically geared towards Amazon sellers. We have playbooks built into the software that basically take you through all these tests that I've already mentioned and walk you through how to do them. And it's based on our experience of being seven-figure Amazon sellers. So for example, we also have for polls, the contextual polls, where you can emulate an Amazon search result page, which is insane. That's the main difference. You get the whole aspect of the qualitative side of things too, and the Pinion playbooks that let you actually test tests for specifically on Amazon.
Excellent. All right. Do we have that demo set up?
I think so, yeah.
Let's jump in there. All right, take it away.
Okay, so this is what you get when you log into ProductPinion, and basically very simple. We try to keep everything. We try to keep it as simple as possible. So you get credits. The way it works is every month you'll get a certain number of credits for testing. You get Pinion poll credits and Pinion video credits. Videos are those screencast recordings that you get people to give. You get their opinions from. And poll credits are basically asking people. So you can do a poll, ask 50, 100 people, 1,000 people for an opinion on a certain kind of split test. And like I was mentioning, something that makes us a little different is that we actually have specific playbooks that kind of go through the process of basically setting up these tests. So, for example, if you wanted to do that objection handling test, we can do the competitor research test very, very easily. And then that's the video
Hey
side.
Matt, just real quick, a question. Actually, it was kind of a comment came in. Is there any way you could zoom in on that or make that a little bigger? Take a look at that where you're going.
Yeah.
There we go. That should be a little better.
Let's see.
Is there a way to make it full screen? There you go. Keep going. A couple people were saying it's a little hard to see. So there you go. Now they're seeing it. All right, go ahead.
Right on. Okay, so now we're in there. Okay. Yeah, so basically this is what it looks like. You can pick a playbook, right? So at any point in time you want to do a test, hit the playbook, you're good to go. And then you'll get the previous results of some of the other things that you've done. So just for example, this is what it looks like when you actually run one of the tests. So in this case, we were actually polling about diapers, reusable diapers. And we asked people, if you're on Amazon, which one would you click? Now, what's interesting, I was almost sure that this image would do the best because it kind of shows the colors more boldly. But sure enough, this is the one that took off. Now, something else, actually, I forgot to mention that makes it really different and really exciting to use is that you can actually not only poll our audience, so we provide you the audience, right? So, if you're just a brand getting started, you don't have people to ask. We have thousands of Amazon Prime shoppers that are at your disposal to ask whatever question that you want. However, if you're a more mature brand and you have your own audience, you can actually turn something on here, enable public participants. And then what that does is it generates a link that allows you to send to your audience. Now, that's important, and you can get them to kind of fill out the poll. Now, it's important for a couple of reasons. One, by involving your existing customer base in the direction of your products, they feel more a part of your brand and they'll be that much more loyal. And number two, you can also ask them for participating. Hey, here's a discount code to buy more. So you can also generate sales after doing a poll. What? Right? That's awesome. The other aspect is you can also optionally ask your customer base what their demographics are. So in case you don't know, everyone thinks they know who their customers are, but until you actually ask, you might be surprised at what actually comes out. So in this instance, we ask for demographics. You can actually get a feel for, who's your customers, who are people actually buying from you, and it helps you target obviously better. Give you a quick look at what that looks like for the customer's end. But basically, it gives you a little, synopsis of what you'll be doing. You can fill in the demographics here very quickly. And then you pick the option, and then they can explain to you, why they did so. Like the buttons. Okay, and then when you do that, it'll actually show up here. So this is where you get the all the comments of from people choosing why they want to choose it. And then I believe if we just refresh, hopefully that'll come up here. So select source, it's the public people. And then these were just some of the tests that we were working on, but it was on, yeah, you can see there. Like the buttons, it shows how it's used was there. Cool. And then obviously you can isolate based on, age, gender, whatever filters that whatever demographics that you selected when you actually set up the test. I'd love to also show you how to set up a video test. So that's fun. So for example, say we want to do that objection handling test. What would we do? We also try to keep it organized as much as possible. So what objections does our listing need to overcome to make more sales? So say, for example, you are selling luggage on Amazon, you can have a category. Some agencies or some, if you have a lot of brands or products, you just put in either the ASIN here or just whatever category of product you're testing. So it's easy to refer back later. And then what you do to set it up is you give the tester some context, right? So pretend you're in the market for the luggage. You're looking at the Amazon listing. I want you to think critically. You give them the URL here, right? So, and keep in mind, you can actually put anything you want in here. So you can actually put like an Amazon search result page. You can put a specific ASIN page. You can point it to whatever variation. Whatever you choose is what this tester will see. And then here's where you ask whatever questions you want. So typically the videos, we cap them at 5 minutes. We don't want to overwhelm with 30-minute interview videos, but they'll get across. You don't have to do all 3 questions. You can ask just 1 or 2 questions, and you'll just get more in depth. But they will give you, the return that you get is about 5 minutes worth of a video. You go ahead, you select your demographics, you ask how many people that you want to ask. I always recommend, if you're doing the higher competitor research, I always recommend doing 10, because again, after you do 10 of these and you hear 10 people speak about the category of product you're working in, you're golden. You get it. You'll get that category. Hit next, and then you're off to the races. What I'll do is I'll switch my screen. I'll give you some examples of some really cool real life examples of opinion videos that actually came back, so you can actually see. So let me just actually switch here real quick. Let's see if it comes up.
So while you're doing that, Matt, why don't we just a quick question for you that did come in while you're looking for that. Is what you're doing TOS compliant? I think you may have mentioned that, but just kind of go ahead and comment on that again.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So absolutely, everything we're doing is TOS compliant. So all the testing, all the stuff we're doing is we call it high tempo testing. So we're doing stuff off of Amazon. So we're not actually changing anything on your Amazon listing right now. What you're doing is this high tempo testing that lets you test really quick. And then what you can do, the ninja tip here, is take the data that you've learned from this high tempo testing and then apply it to Amazon brand experiments, which takes much longer to get results, right? So here you're basically figuring out what is the stuff that you should be testing. And then if you want to take it to the next level and see exactly how it's impacting your sales, you can do that right inside of Amazon brand experiments. But yeah, great question.
Yeah, and then another one did come in while you're looking there. It was kind of long. Let me see if I could summarize it a little bit. They're kind of asking basically how often they should be running a campaign that you showed there. So
yeah, so that's okay. Sorry, I just found.
Go ahead, answer that. And we'll get back to the demo. Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. So it's up to you. So what you'll find is that the more you test, right? Like if you're testing once a week, 52 shots on goal, figuring out what does better, the chances of your success are that much higher. If you can also test often, and actually if your game plan later on is to sell the business, you can go to one of these aggregators and just be like, hey, look, this is all the research. This is all the, this is what I've done to kind of help, so that when they buy it, or not someone else takes it over, they know exactly where to go to start with. It adds institutional knowledge to your brand and to your business. So what we recommend is do launch at least 5 ProductPinion videos every month at a bare minimum, and you take that time once a month, you review the videos. It gives you also insight into are customer trends changing, what's going on. And keep in mind, one of those videos can have that golden nugget that might lead to product variations. A lot of Amazon sellers have the problem of, I don't know what to sell. Like, I don't know what, there's all the traditional software of product research and that sort of thing. And yes, that has to hold true, but here's a way to figure out what to sell by asking people. And all of the products that I've actually done, I've never used software to find, I mean, obviously you need software to validate, which ones are selling, make sure there's a market for it and that sort of thing. But the products that I've sold and been the most successful with have always been ones that I've come up with either because I want it or have asked other people what they want. So just test often. I mean, that's the general rule of thumb.
All right, let's jump into this demo. Just a heads up, we got about 5 more minutes left.
Yeah, totally. So for example, this was a real test that was done. In this case, actually, I think we added 10 more, so it's 110% complete. Always fun to be 110%. And in this one, for example, this is what you get. So you get these videos of people speaking out loud as they're going over the actual listing. So in this case, I don't think the sound will come through, but that's okay. Basically, they're going over, and for whatever reason, the aspect ratio here is kind of funky, but they'll be explaining what they think about the listing, whatever questions you've asked them. They're talking out loud and explaining their opinions on it. In this case, for example, the product itself is a type of acid. Obviously, acid in the eyes is scary, but I feel like the product didn't do a good enough job of explaining why it's safe, right? So safety was a big concern. That makes sense. And then one of the last things I want to show, actually, I have to switch screens just one more time. So this is one of the coolest things that you can do, I think, is the contextual polls. So for example, how does your product compare to other products on Amazon? Again, let's do luggage. This setup is a little different, right? So in this case, you can still set up the context of what are they looking to, what are they actually going to be looking at? So they read that, a tester will read that before they actually go into the test. Here, we're actually making that Amazon simulated page. So you can control if you want to show the star ratings, the number of reviews, anything that you want. What you'll do is you can easily pop in a few ASINs. So if you know your competitors, throw them in there. You can throw in your own as well. If you don't want to do that, that's okay as well. You can manually add a product to, and you can set whatever star rating, price, or reviews. So you can see how powerful this is, right? You can actually customize your whole, you basically can control for whatever variable when you're actually testing. And then what ends up happening, so in this case, it just pulled, I threw in a few ASINs there. And then what it'll do is it'll create this kind of page. This is what a tester will see. And they'll be instructed to, click on to which one they like, right? So a very cool way of being able to test things in context with, making it look like an Amazon search result page. So this isn't Amazon, keep in mind. This is something that we've generated where you can actually control, whatever aspects you want on the page to make it look as real life as possible. So yeah, that's one of the cool features too.
Nice.
That's it in a nutshell, right? So basically the whole idea is to, give you the power to do all the tests you want. And at the end of the day, it'll help you increase your sales.
Yeah, no, that's some good information, and definitely worth checking out. Matt, that's been great. Why don't you tell everybody kind of if they're interested in getting a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you? And I think you also had a special offer. Why don't you throw that in also?
Yeah, totally. So you can get in touch with me, just Matt, M-A-T-T at ProductPinion.com. Super, super easy. Obviously, there's also support at ProductPinion.com too. Check out our website. The special offer is if you are interested in increasing your Amazon sales, head on over to ProductPinion.com. Throw in GETIDA as the promo code when you're signing up. You'll get a bunch of fun stuff. You'll get 3 months worth of personalized testing. So we'll actually look into one ASIN and recommend to you exactly step by step on, hey, here's the stuff you should be testing because we want you to get results. We want you to sing it from the treetops that you're making more money with it. You'll also get, speaking of double your sales, we'll also double your testing credits for the first month. So you get to hit the ground running. And on top of that, you'll also get 20% off the first month as well too. So all of that, ProductPinion.com, GETIDA as the promo code, and you are good to go.
Awesome. Hey, Matt, I really appreciate you being on the show. And once again, thank you for showing us what you got. Have a great day.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Sellernomics Podcast. Special thanks to our sponsor, GETIDA. Did you know that Amazon probably owes you money for FBA reimbursements? Get $400 in free FBA reimbursements at GETIDA.com/Sellernomics. Be sure to join us again next week for more great tips on how to grow your business. And thanks again for listening.